Today I'm going to answer the question how you can actually fall asleep in 5 minutes or less. But before we dig into the topic, please don't forget to subscribe to this channel and to hit the bell to get informed about future videos that I publish on this channel all around your sleep and your health. But before I'm going to share my top 5 tips when it comes to falling asleep in 5 minutes or less, I want to state out one rule. And this rule is, if we want to fall asleep faster, the one thing that we do not want to do is to try to speed up the process of falling asleep. This might seem counterintuitive, but let me explain. If we're sleeping, when we're sleeping, we're essentially slowing down everything in our bodies. Our body doesn't move anymore. Our brain waves slow down to 0.5 waves a second, which is very slow. And if we try to speed up, to rush into that process, it's just not going to work. And the second thing is that sleep is a completely unconscious process, and trying to pressure our bodies, our minds into when we fall asleep will probably result in the opposite. So what can we do instead? Tip number 1 is to stick to a regular sleep schedule over all 7 days of a week. That will help our bodies to keep in line, in sync with our biorhythms, letting us know exactly when it's time to get up, to feel energized, and also resulting in quicker sleep at nighttime. Tip number 2 is to catch enough sunlight at daytime. Go outside, get at least 30 minutes of sunlight, and that will help our bodies in 2 ways. First off, we've got little receptors in our eyes, and they pick up on blue light, transporting that information to the SCN, which is our main inner clock. And our main inner clock gives the signal to the pineal gland, which will produce melatonin at nighttime. So to get this working, it's important to get our bodies aligned with the day. Tell them exactly that it's daytime, and getting out to sunlight will give our eyes a lot of blue light when it's daytime, leaving us with a lesser sensitivity to the lights that we are exposed to at nighttime through electricity, light bulbs, electrical screens, and so on, which will help us to fall asleep faster. That's reason number 1. And reason number 2 is actually that sunlight lets our body produce vitamin D, and vitamin D has also been proven to be important when it comes to our sleep. Tip number 3 is to use our beds for sleep and sex only. The reason is that we are creatures of habit, meaning that we relate certain states of our body and our mind to objects. So you might know the story of the Pavlov dog. Pavlov fed his dog, and when he fed his dog, he started to saliva. So what he started to do was to ring a bell every time he fed his dog, and when the dog started to saliva. At some point, he only had to ring the bell and the dog started to saliva without any food being in the room. So what this means for us is if we start working, doing stuff that is stressful for us in bed, our bodies, our minds will get hooked to that state. Or the opposite is also true. If we relate and connect our bodies to sleep exclusively in our bed, then it's going to be so much easier for our bodies and minds to get into the state and fall asleep quick. Tip number 4 is to keep our bedrooms cozy, cool, dark, and silent. By doing so, we will take care that our senses are not going to get distracted through keeping it silent, keeping it dark. And if you have a hard time doing so in your bedroom, consider to get an eye mask and a couple of earplugs that could do that job for you. By keeping the temperature a little bit lower than you have it in the rest of the house, you're going to help your body to notice that it is nighttime, because if you look at nature, things get cooler at nighttime. So that's going to help our bodies to recognize that. And also our body temperature drops slightly before we fall asleep. So it's also going to help our bodies to pick up on that. And to keep our bedroom cozy is just a thing that will help us to feel good, and feeling good will help us to slip asleep. And tip number 5 is to go to bed with the intention to rest rather than having the intention to actually fall asleep. And the reason for this is that sleep is an unconscious process, and any attempt to control something that is unconscious, uncontrollable, will rather result in the opposite. So if you go to bed with intention to rest, and that's 100% your control, then sleep will take care of itself, and this will help you to fall asleep in 5 minutes or less. And by the way, this is something that every good sleeper out there that falls asleep in 5 minutes or less, that I ever talk to does right. To make the adaptation of these things as simple as possible for you, I created a checklist that contains these 5 tips that you can use to see what things you are already doing and what you might still want to implement to fall asleep in 5 minutes or less. To get the checklist, simply check out the video description underneath this video and you'll find a link that you can use to download the file to your computer. Also use the comment section to let me know how these tips work for you, and maybe you've got another secret tip that you want to share with all of us. If you like this video, give me a thumbs up. That always keeps me motivated to create new future videos for you all around your sleep and your health. And if not already happened, don't forget to subscribe to this channel and hit the bell to get informed about future videos that I publish on this channel for your sleep and your health. See you in the next video.